The weird thing about moving on is that there comes that epiphany, that one day where you realize your new reason for living is right there before you. And so I leave my apartment every morning at exactly 6:59 a.m. And the reason why I know it's exactly 6:59 a.m. is because within a week or so after the breakup, once I left at 6:59 a.m. to take the BX10 bus over to the 4 train to get all the way down from Woodlawn essentially down to 161st Street, if I got off at exactly approximately 7:33 a.m. and walked down the steps, pause, and continue to walk up the hill, I'd see her. And she was literally a vision of love. For anybody who enjoys watching a 1980s or 1990s romantic comedy, you know how this goes, where the woman kind of walks through the meadow, kind of striding, her hair flowing in the breeze, the soft music playing. Well, imagine that, except it is the South Bronx, 161st Street. And there's the wind from the wind tunnel as you cross the Grand Concourse. That is true. Her hair is still flowing, but she moved effortlessly. And it was essentially the summertime, hot as hell. I'm dressed in a three-piece suit just to try to impress not only her, but my future people I'm going to be defending in the beautiful South Bronx. I understand how I should walk at this particular moment. That means I walk like Denzel Washington. And if you've ever seen a Denzel Washington movie, that brother can walk so smooth, so slow, where there's not a bead of sweat dropping from his forehead. And I decided to walk that exact same way. And so as I passed her, she smiles, I smile, and we keep going. Now, this happens for not 1 week, not 2 weeks, but for 3 consecutive weeks. And I begin to realize that I suffer from what my ex called the half check. See, my ex and I were together for a number of years. We dated in law school, things were fine, up until the fact that she moved to New York and things got quite interesting. That is truly another story for another time. But what I can tell you is that one of her biggest pet peeves, if only her only pet peeve, other than the fact that I was kind of slow to propose, but other than that, her biggest pet peeve was that I seemed non-committal. Insert the ring part if you want to. Every time it came to me making a decision, I partially commit, but not go the full way. I'd have to think about it first, and I'd do some research, kind of, poll my friends and figure out what was the best for me to do. And eventually, the moment would pass. And she would say, that's a half check. And I suffered from the case of the half checks. So after 3 weeks of doing this, I figured out to do something to make this a full check. I couldn't go on like this. I thought about her all the time. I was leaving my apartment early just to run into her. People in 2026 would call that stalking. Those of us who are Gen X, we just call that being punctual. So I had to do something. And so what I decided to do was to do what anyone would probably do. I left my apartment really early on a Saturday morning. I go down to the West Village back when they had cute little, mom and pop stores and card stores and greeting cards. And I walked into my favorite store on Christopher Street. I walked through and I found the perfect card. The card on the cover of it basically said, I carry a little bit of debt. I carry ketchup inside my glove compartment just in case. And it had a couple of other small little lines inside there, but it ended when you open the card is that what I do know is I really like you. And I found that to be the perfect card. Full of lies though, because I actually hate ketchup and I carry a lot of debt graduating from law school, but she didn't need to know that. And so I took the card home, and on a beautiful Sunday evening, I sat and wrote to her, essentially poured out my heart as best I possibly could. I explained to her that I had gone through a very bad breakup, but that she was that ray of sunshine, literally and figuratively, each and every day, and that I had to get to know her. To borrow the words of my friend Eric, I didn't know her, but I know she needed to be mine. So that Monday morning, I get up promptly like I normally do, get off the train, walk up 161st Street, and I see her. And now is a full check moment. I dip into my bag, She smiles, I smile. And just as she continues to go forward to the train, I pause for a quick second, I pull out the card, and I hand it to her. She smiles, I smile, I tell her to have a nice day, and she smiles, shakes her head, yes, and continues on. Full check moment, I'm feeling proud of myself. Inside the card lied my phone number. And so while I'm at work, all day long, I keep checking my answer machine. I keep calling over and over again to see if there's any messages. There's no messages, and I kind of get a little bit disappointed. I go home that evening, I stare at the phone, wishing for it to ring, and it never does. But I'm sitting proud of myself because I did make that full check. I did commit to actually doing something, taking advantage of a situation. The very next morning, I'm going to see her. And so I go through the routine, I see her with another man. And so if you know anything about men in the South Bronx, you know if they're walking with a woman that you're interested in, it might be in your best interest to walk to the other side of the street. And so I do so. And I don't make eye contact with her. I definitely don't look at him. I'm like, my God, I'm gonna have to quit my job or get some kind of police escort because this guy's gonna be looking for me sometime soon. Go home, and I hear a series of hang-ups. I have caller ID. It's a weird number. I can't pick out what that number is, and I don't know who's calling me and for what reason. But I know there's a series of hang-ups. Could this be her? The next morning, I don't see her. Well, the next morning, when I check my answer machine while I'm at work, I realize that someone's about ready to talk, and then they hang up. This has to be her. Why won't she say anything? I've not seen her for several weeks. Or for several days. What's going on with this? That evening, while watching my beloved Atlanta Braves on WTBS, the phone rings. It's that weird number again. I pick up. I put on my best Denzel Washington voice. Hello? On the other line, a woman says, is this Brian? It is. How are you? Do you know who this is? I can venture to guess, but since you're calling, you know who you are. Tell me who you are. And she gives me this name, Saranji. Like, oh, that's a beautiful name. She's like, you just heard it. Yeah, I did, but it captures my heart. You're the woman I see every morning. She's like, I am not. And now my heart begins to race because I know from previous life experiences dating back to college, I've been known to give my number to a couple of different people at the same time. You just don't know who's calling who. And so the woman's like, I'm not her. I'm her daughter. So now I'm thinking to myself, what is this? Are you like her messenger service? Are you her call service? Like, why are you calling me? And she's like, well, my mom's been really busy. My mom really loves the car that you gave her. And she was wondering if you'd like to meet up. But why can't I talk to your mom? I can't get into that right now, but she just asked for me to call you and ask, would you be interested in meeting? Well, I would, but I gotta be honest with you. I saw her with a man a couple of days ago. Please don't tell me that this is the Bronx version of marriage where you kind of live together, but you're all in a situation and I'm involved in that situation. And she starts to laugh like, no, my mother is not that kind of person. I said, well, thank God. So that was just a friend that she works with, okay? But the question remains, do you still want to meet my mom? I'd gladly do so. Well, tomorrow's the 4th of July, we have plans and everything, but she's available, again, the scheduling thing, she's available on the 5th at about 6:30 p.m. Would you like to meet her? Sure. Also keep in mind that you gotta figure out where you wanna meet her at. Can we meet at the Bedford Park D train, just right on the corner of Bedford Park and the Grand Concourse? That's an interesting place. Well, it is an interesting place, but considering that I don't know you, I've seen your mom with another man, I want to get as far away from 161st as possible. It's somewhere between Riverdale and the South Bronx, wherever. That's a nice open place for us to meet. Mind you, this is around 2004 or so it's a different world back then. She's like, agreed. My mom will meet you there. Be there, 6:30. I shall be there. And so now I'm wondering all throughout the 4th of July, what lies ahead? This woman has been a fixture in my mind for the last month. I see her all the time. I get an answering service essentially trying to schedule a date. What do I do? The morning of the 5th, I plan what we should do for a date. The afternoon, I get myself mentally ready. And so now it's the evening, and I drive over to to Bedford Park, Grand Concourse, park the car, and I walk, and I sit and wait. And she's late, about 5 to 7 minutes, so I'm not that upset about that. And I see her walking effortlessly towards me. I look at her and smile. She looks at me and smiles. I tell her, your daughter called, we're supposed to meet here, and so since I didn't talk to you, what would you like to do tonight? And she looks at me and smiles. I said, again, I didn't really make any definitive plans, but I've never spoken to you before. What would you like to do? I'm an open book. What do you want to eat? Where you want to go? Whatever you want to do is fine by me. I just want to get a chance to know you better. Again, she looks at me and smiles. I look at her and said, you have a beautiful smile. But there has to be more to this relationship than just you smiling whenever I talk. If you want to have a second date, we got to at least do something for our first date. And our first date will require you to say something to me other than smiling. She looks at me, she smiles. I don't speak any English. At that particular moment, I thought back to Mr. Rios, who I learned Spanish from back in high school. I thought about Lola Ponte Ramos, who gave me an A in Spanish, not because I spoke fluently, but because I could bachata and samba and do all the other Latin American dances. I knew that there was a Spanish language movie being shown at Lincoln Center. In my most elementary form of Spanish, the best possible way, I suggested that we go see the movie. She smiled and she agreed. Thank you.